part as part of our half-day conference. And now we are heading towards the panel discussions. And we have three panelists joining with us to take part in the panel discussion. And first panelist we have here is Mridula Menon. She's a senior manager working at GreyOrange, Bengaluru. She has a rich experience in product development, content development, and in BI in the SAS domain has enabled her to explore various roles in her work life. And as a goal-oriented and customer-centric content leader and strategist, she hones her teams to champion innovative ways to manage information and bring about customer success and satisfaction. As a senior manager of information development at GreyOrange, she heads a content team that engages with SAS applications, AI, robotics, SCM, warehouse management systems, and hardware. Um, yeah. Welcome, Mridula Menon, for the panel.
Thank you. So for the panel discussion, we have Mr. Ravikumar B. He is the Executive Product Manager at Intellect Design Arena, Chennai. So he's a seasoned professional in technical writing, e-learning, and product management. And though he started his career as a programmer, he moved to technical writing in 2001, and he has never looked back since then. And in his recent employment, he has handled product documentation, testing, training, and pre-sales. And in his spare time, he enjoys philately, photography, and long rides and drives. So he enjoys creating both the short form and long form contents and posting those on his social media profiles. And he has won a lot of awards and certificates at society, state, and national levels for his stamp exhibits. I'm sure Ravikumar would love to take us on a long drive or short drive when he's in Hyderabad next time.
Yeah, I would love to.
Welcome, Ravi. Ravi, you are on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
We have a third panelist here, Shrutika Dhake. She is working as manager in Quest Software in Mumbai. For the past 14 years, Shrutika has been making lives easy on one piece of content at a time. She specializes in documenting products from scratch, revamping existing document sets, and UX writing. She enjoys challenges and at her current organization took it upon herself to migrate the entire documentation set consisting of four products to MatCap Flare from scratch. With MatCap Flare, she specializes in setting up doc environments, designing sites, creating styles and templates, and creating content. Welcome, Shrutika, for the panel, and hope you all three have a great panel discussion here. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Ravi.
And now we welcome our MC, none other than Mr. Puneet Srivastava. As we all know, he's the director of Tech Writers Tribe with 23 plus years of experience in technical documentation, and he is based out of Hyderabad. And he is the backbone of TWT. And I welcome him. And over to you, Puneet. Let's start the session.
Let's get started. Thank you so much, Preeti and Ravi, for welcoming me and welcoming all the panelists. And so what a day, actually, the topic, AI, trends and all. And we have actually presenters, if you exclude me, presenters overall from how many? 6 different cities of India. So probably we can see the voices of different parts of India. So that's amazing. And yes, I, Preeti and Ravi are based in Hyderabad. Okay, so let's get started. And so thank you, Shrutika, Mridula, and Ravikumar for joining. Ravi, just for the sake of this conversation, can I call you Ravi in between? Because every time saying Ravikumar will be a bit longer for me.
sure.
So, yeah. Okay, great. So let's get started. So thank you everyone for joining. Now, as for the topic is concerned, the trends in 2024 for tech writers and the doc teams to follow. So before I start questioning, having some question on that, and I won't go with the normal frame of, asking you all to introduce, and these people have already done that. I would rather jump into another question because all of you are very experienced. You have seen this industry at least for a minimum of 10 to 15 years, I can say, all of you in your personal career.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very basic question based on your experience. Does trend matter in technical documentation? You must have seen in the past, that so many things came up as people called it trends and all that. Okay, this is going to change the world, like all those Bollywood, Hollywood movies. America is in danger and now you have to save the world. So many trends came. So in your thought, what do you think? And if so, I would like to know that. Mridula.
Yeah. So let me just go to anecdote that how many of us would love to keep on watching Doordarshan? Maybe no one. So even in entertainment industry, we have come a long way. So if we are not catching up with trends, if we are not keeping up with trends, soon will be kicked out of the game. So even when it comes to tech writing, if we feel that, yes, we have completed 10, 15 years in the industry and we know everything, then we will be in a fool's paradise. So, despite having, more than 20 years of experience, I was just telling my team member the other day, it is very important to invest at least 30 minutes of your time on a daily basis because you are in the writing industry to just go ahead and read the trends. Even if you're not reading about the trends, just pick up some course that is relevant to our domain and keep learning. That is the only way you can keep up with the trend. And you will see that, more and more new writers are coming into the field. Not only you can learn from them, you can even teach them if you are keeping up with the trend. So keeping up with the trend is very, very important. It's not an option. It is compulsory.
Sorry, I have one comment.
Golden words, and I will have an example which I will talk about later. Okay, so
I had
Shrutika,
had I had
any
one.
thoughts?
Hello. I had one comment
We comment
about.
we will come to a bit later. Let me talk to the panelists first.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Shrutika, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I second, I not only second, I completely agree with Mridula. Uh, like she said, it would be like living in a fool's paradise if we don't keep up with the trends. And see, these trends do affect the way content is consumed, created, distributed, and consumed. So it only makes sense to keep up with these trends. And so, Bill Gates had written an essay in 1996 or so, where he said, and the essay itself was titled as "Content is King." I know this is no longer appropriate to say, using king as a generic term is no longer appropriate to say. But then in his essay, he had written that content is where I expect much of the real money to be made on the internet. And see what internet did. It disrupted the way content was created. It disrupted the way people consumed content, isn't it? That's the simplest example and a very hard relate kind of example. So uh, these trends do impact the technical documentation world, and it's very important to keep up with the trends, even if we are not learning everything. Even if we are not able to implement all these trends, it's very important, in my opinion, to stay abreast with all these trends.
Awesome. So yeah, Ravi,
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Yes. Like Mridula and Shrutika mentioned, it's very mandatory, and it's not enough just to know the trend. You have to be using it or be aware of it. You should be have more hands-on. Like 10 years before, I was not creating videos, but today I only creating videos. So at the time, I didn't realize that I'll be creating videos, but today it's a necessary. Not everyone would like to read a Word document or a PDF. They want to see something live in action, and they want short form of information which may not be possible in a document. So we need to keep abreast of what is being required or what is being desired. Basically, what if you want to reflect upon what Mridula or Shrutika is, if we are having the desire to make it easier for others, then we'll be in the trend.
Wonderful. So I know this question was not a double-edged question. It was a one-sided, and it has only one answer. Yes, 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 it is required. But still, this question for audience, this question is not a stupid question. In case you have been interacting with the technical writers across the community, we have come across people and you have heard about multiple layoffs, not about smaller companies, bigger companies I am talking about. And I am talking about people who have hold the experience of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And in one company, minimum 5 years. I'm talking about such people. Senior, forget about senior technical writer. I'm talking about staff, principal, and at times managers also. People when work in their organization, especially the big organizations, they feel they are untouchable. Nobody can touch them. They never think about trends like our three leaders are talking about. They don't even bother to scroll through LinkedIn, forget about reading news articles. Suddenly, one fine day have to swim. They are forced to swim. They don't know how to swim despite the career resume saying 15 years of experience and 20 years of experience, because like one of them said, trends keep changing. By the time you spent 5 to 10 years in one organization and you came out of it, trend changed so much that you don't know where to find a job and how to find a job. So yes, like all of them said, certainly agree. You don't only need to know about the trends, you need to practice it also, even if you are not using it in your own organization. So thank you. And so continuing on that, so if we talk about past trends before we come to 2024, what exactly they need to know just to get audience familiarity with some trends. So some trends in the past in technical documentation industry you can name which emerged and people followed actually. Maybe one or two names. Shrutika, you can start with this. Anyone?
Um, so like Ravi mentioned, videos, um, creating bite-sized content. People like to consume content fast. They want answers fast. So that is one trend that people I see even today, although it has been in place for so long. I mean, I started working as a technical writer around 14 years back, and at that time also people were talking about creating videos, bite-sized content, and it has still been going on. People still talk about it, people still want to create. So that is one trend that has never gone out of fashion, or that has not died. So that's one trend that has
Yeah,
been here.
probably getting stronger every year, at least for technical
Yes,
documentation field.
yes,
More and
definitely.
more teams are trying to implement it. Ravi,
Yeah.
yeah, you talked about video, which she grabbed. Any other thing you have?
Several things actually. I will just talk few no important ones, which hasn't changed is uh, as a writer, I should be always curious. You should have the ability to learn. The fundamentals has not changed, even though the trends keep changing. The fundamentals has not changed. You should uh, able to have the capability to explain things in simple way. And how do you do that? You need to be a little bit curious about what is happening within the product or within the organization and what is being decided and all that. So that thing has not changed. And as a writer, you should have some analytic skills that is necessary, which like have wearing several hats, right? You use the software, understand it, why it is being used, who is going to use it, how it is going to help them. Those kind of skills will remain the same. Whether we have AI 10 years down the line, those fundamental skills will not change. Like Aman said, right? Accuracy, crisp writing and all that. We should be, just hone your skills and all that.
Wonderful. So if I can use catching it from the filmy version, evergreen heroes and heroines. So they are like evergreen trends, probably in our field. So whatever comes and goes, but these evergreen things, these are the basic things, people. So whether you are a writer or whether you are a leader, probably you must have it always. How about you, Mridula? You want to add something? Mute.
You're on mute.
Yes, sorry about that. So one thing that has really caught on is the DAP, which is the Digital Adoption Platform. Whichever app you explore, automatically a pop-up comes, giving you the option of a walkthrough. Hand-holding. So digital adoption platform is catching up really fast across multiple platforms, mainly because it has been recognized that people do not want to sift through long documents. They are either going for videos, and still better, they want guidance immediately when they're using the app. And that is making DAP extremely popular. And just for the benefit of the audience, two very popular DAP is WhatFix and WalkMe, two of the popular ones.
Just want to add to Mridula's thing. WhatFix, I have tried the evaluation version. It even creates some content, some draft content, which you can format and publish.
Correct.
Oh. So like AI integrated, if you can say, yeah. So awesome. Okay, so I think apart from it's very good to not hear about general product documentation. I think at this stage in 2024, we can consider that, okay, creating user manuals and general product documentation, actually it's not even worth talking about, because it's just your basic role. If somebody is doing it, you're not doing a favor to the world, you're just doing a favor to yourself if you're good at it. Otherwise, you have a lot many things that can be considered as trends, and that's what you can make a pick which one suits you and try it one by one. So those were the things. And how about coming to 2024? The same applies, or anything else you would like to add? Now, if we talk about 2024, and we talk about not only individual contributors, because we know how important role a manager plays in today's world. Okay, it's not about just getting the documentation project done. That's not the only job of a manager. So for both, considering the doc teams plus the individual contributors in 2024, what do you think people should follow? We can start with Ravi.
Yeah. What I've seen in the past 3-4 years and for going to see is people or the management expects people to collaborate more and be open to writing.
Ravi, your screen got stuck, I guess, or is it me only? Ravi.
We can't hear you.
Okay, so let's continue with Mridula. Let Ravi be back. Mridula, your thoughts.
So I just mentioned about DAP, and also Ganesh and Amandeep and Vaibhav, everybody talked about chatbots also. So one thing common between these two are the conversational way of writing. Now, I recently conducted a session for a group of technical writers on how to write for DAP. So that is a part of, you can say it's a kind of a hybrid UX writing. So it applies the principle of UX writing, but then it is writing for the digital adoption platform. So in 2024, what I would like to see tech writers picking up more on is conversational writing. Now it is easier said than done, because during the one of the session, I just asked them to write an imaginary conversation. You don't have to write anything technical, just imaginary conversation. And perhaps if I'm trying to hire somebody for the DApp that will be implemented at my organization, this is something I would ask in an interview also, like for written round, that just write an imaginary conversation between you and your friend on a specific topic. So what I found is that although we can pick up a phone and talk very eloquently with a friend, just imagining that conversation and writing it on paper for a technical writer is challenging. Unless that writer is involved in script writing or some form of drama, and I'm not joking here, because it is some people do involve in such things and they can write very well, or even story writing. So such technical writers can write very beautiful conversations, but for others it's a challenge. So in 2024, I would really like to see a hardcore technical writer exploring conversational style.
Wonderful. And I assume many organizations are already following it. So
Yes.
soon it's going to be a demand. Great. Yeah, you want to continue?
Yeah, sorry, I got logged off while as I was speaking. Able to hear me, right?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Okay, okay. So what I was, about, I think kind of reflects what Mridula has mentioned as well. People are looking for, small stories that are relevant to them in content, even in hardcore technical writing or technical documentation. This is being more, I found this, in the past 2-3 years in my the recent employment, people were asking for, even the management, they wanted some storytelling within the documentation because they found it boring. Now, as a writer, it is our responsibility to make people, at least our content should answer their queries or make them troubleshoot or help them, um, complete the task quickly, and then they can move on to other responsibilities and all that. So if you look at from that point of view, more like, a scenario based content is being asked for rather than just, how to overviews and, troubleshooting. They want something like a scenario, which may be possible in video, but I'm still, wondering how to do that in straightforward normal writing in user guide. It may be possible in videos, small videos where you can start off with a scenario and then guide them through, how to achieve certain things. Or if it is a training material where you can, give some setup or set some context, something like a user scenario, or this is how the end user, some user personas go through daily and how this solution or the product resolves it. So that kind of, scenario based or story writing is what we should be able to, catch up and get master at.
Yeah, and I think that probably syncs with, at least in the software world, where all the Jira tickets or whatever ticket you have, it's basically scenario. The product manager comes and writes the scenario, right?
Yep.
Generally, that's the use case they write, and developers and tech writers are supposed to frame the solution accordingly. Great points. Thank you. Shrutika, so yeah, you would like to add many more points, but yes, UX writing also, I think she is one of the best advocates I have met for UX writing. So yes, Shrutika, the trends and what? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so adding on to what Mridula and Ravi mentioned, conversational writing, of course, is very important. If you see MSTP, how it has evolved, MSTP was very hard bent on using certain rules in a certain way and in certain contexts. If you see the latest updates to MSTP, I was delighted. I was actually delighted that, okay, people will not throw MSTP in my face now when I ask them to change their style of writing, because that's like a Bible, right? So yeah, conversational writing, and then like Ravi mentioned, scenario based content these are the basis that we need to develop on. These are very important going forward. But one thing that I want to mention here is the kind of user research that you need to do as technical writers to be able to write conversations, to be able to write scenarios, because not every user is same. Right? You need to identify. And as technical writers, we are taught early on, know your audience. But what is knowing your audience? It is no longer simply knowing, the profile of your audience, whether they are technically sound or not. That's not the case anymore. You have to work on researching in depth about your users. There are many tools available. There are many templates available. There are many practice workshops available. I recently did one such for my team. My team is very small, but I keep dragging them into these kind of things. So these are very important things to understand what your users need. Without that, like Mridula said, not many technical writers are comfortable writing conversational content. Like Ravi mentioned, writing scenarios does not come easily to writers. We depend on product managers. We depend on business side of the organization to understand these things. It's so in 2024, I would like to see writers pick up user research skills, pick up collaboration skills, and learn how to understand your product from the business perspective as well. So these are the things that I think are going to help us as a community.
That's another perspective. Awesome. Mridula, your hand is raised. You want to add something?
Yes, I just want to make a point, because I stressed a lot on conversational writing. Now, exactly as Shrutika mentioned, that everything is not meant for everyone. So if you start using very fun words and make it very light for developer documentation, you're doing it with the best of your intent. You want the storytelling and the fun element and everything, but the developer will just knock it off and they will not open the document ever again, because what they want in their the little time they have is just get to the matter. So when I'm stressing on conversational style, please know your audience, and then you can implement it and vary how much you want to make it conversational. So if you are writing a document on something that caters to kids or pets, that will be a different level of conversational. Whereas if you are catering to, like my audience, who will be operators and warehouse managers, you cannot have the same level of conversation there.
Great point. Thank you. And so here we will actually open up for questions. We will not take up questions only in the end. So a break to them from my questions. And so audience, based on what we have discussed right now, do you have any questions or thoughts to share? Please go ahead. Vaibhav, I see your hand raised. You want to go ahead?
No, by mistake it was.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, sure.
I think Pradeep has, he has some question.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, the only one point I wanted to bring out is, even though these trends keep coming and some trends keep going, and some people don't even remember some of the trends that we tried to follow so eagerly sometime before. I think the enduring trends are what Amandeep actually mentioned some time back, like your accuracy, being very accurate, being the three things he said, right? The content being accurate, correctness, all that is very, very enduring. And even Mridula said, how many of you want to watch Doordarshan? But a lot of India, the rural areas, a lot of knowledge is still shared by Doordarshan itself, like your farmers. And the content is the king, and the trends, maybe they come and go. But if you are good at your content, even now I see people are not so good at writing the basics, right? It's still a taken, that's what Puneet said. But if you get your content right, if you get your accuracy right, and if you keep your customer right, I think these are the enduring trends that will go on even if these small-term trends keep coming and going. I think you should be strong at your basics. That's one comment I had.
Certainly, yeah. And I think Mridula meant by DD just by the way
Yeah.
it's presented.
Exactly.
Content-wise, of course, wherever people have option, they can go for
Yes.
others.
Yeah.
Okay, Aman, you want to add? You have a point?
I do actually. So I shared two links in the chat. Now both of them are deliverables that I worked on in the past, and this was done way before chatbot or chat GPT was, was like the thing. So this basically brings in a point where I kind of like agree with Mridula is like it's really difficult. It's really challenging for writers who do not, have not never done story writing, or have not created those stories, to basically be able to identify the flow. They are hard coded, hardwired to write instructions. What they know is define it, write instructions, refer to it, close, my job is done. But that's not what users need. And as managers, as people, we interact with users, we interact with people who basically interact with users directly, to understand what the pain points are. So when we were going through when I was going through those pain points back in my organization, we realized that people needed these stories. But how do we get them, get them to them? And when ChatGPT was just not available, it was probably far away, it was costlier, whatever. So we found different ways, and this way is now this is now the source for the next implementation. So in a way, we all did something that could basically be a source for what would go in tomorrow, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's the AI part, and so on. We have it. It's just that we need to find that information. We need to basically go and see what we did in past and how we can basically leverage what is coming up today and put that in there. Give it a different wrapper. It's like, I don't know, maybe like old wine in a new bottle or something. Because the wine does exist. It's just that people need it in a different form now because you have different gadgets. I recently bought a 24. It was so hyped, and I'm amazed at the AI, that phone has in it. So AI is getting into those devices now. Eh, Like even the common man can go in and buy a device, and he has AI there. He has translated there. So why isn't documentation going to that level? It has to. Yes, long way, and whatever we're discussing basically is going in that direction. So somewhere or other, we
Correct.
definitely have done that in the past. Yeah, interesting stuff. Thank you again. All those panelists and those opinions, they're eye openers. I mean, trust me, one way or other, I could relate to what you're discussing. I could relate to your responses in whatever domain you're working in. Tremendous. Thank you again, Puneet, for bringing up this session. It's really helpful. Thank you again.
Thank you, Aman, for your insights. Wonderful. Okay, so I think from what Aman also mentioned, I think it's time for audience here to differentiate, and what especially Pradeep mentioned, time for audience to differentiate when people are talking here about naming different things. I won't repeat whatever they have said. There is something called soft skill. There is something called hard skill. You should be good in documenting. That is a soft skill. That is not your hard skill. Okay. What medium you will use for it, that is your hard skill. You should have technical knowledge. That is your hard skill. What names they have mentioned, those are the trends which you should learn if you haven't done. I would just like to put some differentiation in case somebody, if any of the audience think that, okay, I should be good in English is a core skill. No, that's your basic skill, buddy. Okay, nobody's bothered. You are a technical writer because you're good in English. That's it. Okay. Okay, coming back. Any other question, anybody? Based on the points we have so far. Otherwise,
I think Vaibhav raised.
I think yeah, Vaibhav raised a hand, but he mentioned it was raised by mistake. Vaibhav, do you have anything?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so apart from those wonderful trends points that you have already spoken. Now let's come to the thing that's bothering everyone, and almost the every talk is about it, not only in technical documentation, but in general also. Yes. So AI, I won't say chat GPT, let's say just AI. Okay. So now if we talk about AI, yes, there has already been some points about it, but based on your experience and knowledge so far, how do you think the technical writers, number one, and then the managers or the doc team should actually see AI as a friend, as a foe? If as a friend, how they should be using it? So yeah, Mridula, you want to go ahead?
Yes. So when it comes to AI, I will say that it has become my guru as far as learning, CSS is concerned. Similarly, I have picked up Python also. I just, use the correct prompts to ask the correct questions to ChatGPT, and it literally gave me all the instructions I need to learn these two skills. So similarly, when a tech writer wants to pick up some new skill, that may or may not be directly like they want to explore what is this about, then I would say that if you're not getting the information on internet and you have to pay up for a course or something, just use that 5 minutes and try to explore, try to get information. That is one of the brilliant use of AI actually, that try to explore new areas. And as we are talking about trends, who knows, that will help you board the correct train called trend.
Certainly. Great. And it's good to see. So here we have one live example, okay, and where she has been learning, using it, and that's what basically AI is for. Learn, use it for knowledge. Implementation is your part. How will you go
I'll
ahead and
just
do it?
interrupt there. I want to just share it. I might have shared it before also, that our doc portal, I built it from scratch using HTML and CSS. And believe me, I did not attend any HTML CSS course. It was just, AI that I used, because I am somebody who does not, take our content and put it into ChatGPT. And I have strictly asked my team not to use ChatGPT for that, but use ChatGPT to learn stuff. It is one of the most brilliant. So, we all call ChatGPT as the thief. Though if you put any information, it will just recycle it and give it to someone else. So instead of that, why not, take information from ChatGPT? So that is something that I have
That's
used very effectively.
amazing. And when you said Chat GPT is a thief, so I will just give example of one conversation I was having with a developer, a very senior developer working in outside India. So this person says, I have 3 laptops, one for office, one for my personal usage, and one for Chat GPT. Why? Said no. On my personal and office, I never use any link related to Chat GPT or AI, because you don't know. Even if you're not putting data, they are high and they are hacking your system. So okay, Shrutika, over to you. You want to add something?
Yeah, I was about to talk about the fear. So in my organization, uh, we are not allowed. Any form of AI is restricted, and it's fair enough because of the industry that we work in. But um, like Mridula said, like you said, Puneet, it's up to us. Rather than exploiting these technologies, we should be leveraging these technologies, right? So I think it's a people these days have a tremendous added advantage. I mean, what I took probably 5 years to learn on the job, people can learn it within an hour. So leverage
Yes,
it,
yes,
right? And so I use so I like Puneet said, I don't have 3 laptops, but of course I have two. One is my office and one is my personal one, where I do use AI to a large extent in learning things like coding. Mostly I ask questions about like Mridula said, CSS. I'm not good at sitting and learning by myself. I get distracted. I go down the rabbit hole of links. So it has helped me a lot in focused learning. Right? I have a question, I ask it, I get answers, and I try it. So leverage this. And then apart from that, ideation, it's very good for ideation. Put your raw thoughts, put your brain dump into it, and ask the AI to suggest things to you. You will be amazed at the kind of things that can be built upon your initial thoughts.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to add. And yes, Puneet, about the fear. If we start being afraid of everything, um, you know what will happen? We'll end up living under a rock, probably.
True,
So
true, true.
we have to exercise caution. Of course, we have
Yeah.
to exercise caution and do it with responsibility. But yeah, I don't think it's a threat. I think it's an advantage.
Yeah, and probably when organizations are blocking it, it's probably, I mean, just my assumption, it's probably not about a threat, okay? It's about
Exactly.
something else also. In many organizations on official laptop, you are not allowed to use your social media links. Why? Is it a threat? No. They don't want you to do time pass at work time. You will go to Facebook, Twitter, Insta, right? What will you do there? They don't want to do that. Everybody is not fair. Every organization is not like Facebook and some other organization which think, okay, you are an adult, matured adult, you will have your own, justice and all that. So every organization, whatever they feel like. So probably the same thing with AI. So I don't think everybody is doing it out of fear. There are other reasons also. So yeah, Ravi, before, yes, to that question, certainly you can add if you have some point. Otherwise, I think we discussed before, and you had mentioned about one very interesting term called content design.
Yep.
When we are talking about trends and all, now content design, certainly it's not a term which like it's coming up new, but I think it holds very much importance. So would you like to add throw some light about that?
Yeah, before that, I will want to add something on the AI part.
Sure.
I think it's both, advantage as well as disadvantage. Why? Because it's like, Mridula and Shrutika said, it will help you in learning few things. And not just learning, even if you look at, say, for LinkedIn itself, LinkedIn has AI integrated within it. It will help, it will give you, if you have the premium, LinkedIn enabled for you, I using that, it will have options of AI where it will help you to, keep your profile, make it more attractive. And recently I've started using Canva, which is a online tool to create videos and all that. It has AI integrated with it. It will help you to create videos. Okay, so you need to know, there are options where it will help you to enhance the content that you're going to create, or even the full content itself. But that same thing has a legal or compliance impact, and that's where the companies they either restrict because the AI is it's evolving. We don't know what's going to happen next week or the next year. So we need to like Shrutika said, we need to be little cautious what is going to happen and what's because as a manager, I have to evaluate a person's writing skill, which is, say, for example, I'm just picking up an example. That is something that has been taken from AI or it's created using AI. How do I evaluate it? So only way it is asking that person to write in front of you, rather than looking at some other samples which may not be actually entirely written by that person or that individual. So we should have tread with some caution. Plus, wherever we feel it is advantageous, we use it.
Certainly. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the
Content design, I want
content
to
design, it
understand from
actually
you.
kind of overlaps with Shrutika's thing where she talked about, or we mentioned UX design and all that, right? If you look at the past 4-5 years, you will find a lot of these words getting, even if you look at the job descriptions, you will find content strategy, content management, uh, what else? Content design. There is even, if you look at past 2-3 years in focused, You will find a lot of positions being addressed at a content designer. Now, what they do, if you look at their descriptions, it more or less matches with what tech writers does, plus something else. What are that? One is persuasive writing. Now, if in the content industry, you will find people from PR, public relations, marketing, sales, English graduates, um, technical people like me. I'm a programmer, but turned a writer. And then you will also find people, with other backgrounds. Each will, brings their own core skills. Now, content design is not a certain word, like you said. It is part of the whole user experience. Now, what is user experience? Uh, that's a question. If someone can answer that, what is user experience? Each one will have a. If you Google, you will find n number of meanings or interpretations of that. It's because it has inside it. It has several things. It has tech writing. It has content design. It has UX writing. It has usability. It has other aspects that the whole thing is actually called as user experience. Now, 10 years before, writers were just writing. They just need to produce content, not deliver it either online or a PDF or as part of the product. But as things evolved, there are other requirements as well, or new desires, if you want to call that, where people are asking, or the management or the team expectation is, okay, you are creating technical documentation, but I also want a sales materials, something like a promotional material. Can you create a video, or can you create a small flyer and all that? A hardcore tech writer may have a difficulty in writing persuasive writing. It may not become because how to and all that, it's quite straightforward. You just follow. Sorry. Was that a question or
I'm
just
sorry.
okay? Yeah. So if you look at the how to's, it's just straightforward, step by step, which is as writers we are supposed to write in, be experts in that, but that's not enough. When you're writing to persuasive writing, how do you present something? So in my organization, as I was little experienced in the product, I was getting into other areas where there wasn't any experts in that, like doing pre-sales. Like all the other engineers are techie, they know how to make, but they don't know how to sell it.
Yeah, that art of writing and that
Yes,
that
yes.
mindset has to be, yeah.
So I
that
ended
comes
up
with this kind of
yes,
experience. Yeah.
yes, yes. So I ended up something, I have to unlearn few things as a tech writer
Yeah.
and learn new things now.
Right.
That
Yeah,
is a little difficult.
certainly. Unlearning, I think, is one of the most challenging part
Yep.
for any of us, isn't it? Okay,
And
so now
instead of
as we are
word,
approaching,
just want to add few things.
sure.
This content design is not next text. You have to think visually as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a writer, when I started, I found it very difficult to think in visual terms. I can write in words, but how will I illustrate it? So thereby, we should find some inspiration in comics or other areas where a lot of visual content is getting created. Okay, you can learn from them, and then design your content that has both all medium text, pictures,
Okay.
movies, and all that. So that's what I
Sure.
actually mean by content design.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so to wind up, I will have one quick fire round. Quick fire round. I mean, the question is general, but it's in you. Three of you will have to answer very quickly. So the question will be same, but uh, it will be one for the individual contributors and one for the doc managers. So the question is same. In 2024, if you have to name just one core thing for individual contributors, what do you want them to follow and how do you suggest them to follow? Shrutika, individual contributors.
Yeah, so individual contributors, I myself was one, and it was very difficult to stay motivated. But I think going in 2024, individual contributors should keep this in mind that you are not unseen. It is, but it is also important to work on staying visible and relevant and inspired at the same time. So I want individual contributors to focus on pushing forward in terms of learning and growing as a professional network with people, because you are an individual contributor. That's one thing.
Uh,
I hope it was one thing.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it is. Yes, Mridula.
I would say agility, because we all are in a very fast-paced environment, especially those who are in startup world. They know how fast things change, and you cannot just sit and say that, okay, whatever I learned today is becoming irrelevant and I need to learn new things, because that is the change is the new constant. I know it's cliched, but yes, that's the truth. So agility.
Uh, and in today's world, that's more and more important actually. So, and Ravi, one
Uh,
trend.
they should have a lot of empathy as an individual contributor to understand users. So that I think that's basic necessary. Otherwise, how will they will write for this?
Yeah, and that reminds me, all these points remind me of, one thing. Understand users is fine. Try to understand your SMEs also. Don't just
Yeah.
crib, oh, SMEs are this and that. Because when we talk about AI, and after all these sessions, and almost all of you must be knowing about one term that is called as prompt engineering. Okay, you talk about ChatGPT is beautiful, she or he is such a good friend and all, but you need to ask questions, you know that, right? And you need to ask the right question. The way you question, the way you will get answer. The same applies to your SME interaction also. The question you will ask, they will answer that question only. And if you don't know how to ask question, don't blame them. Okay.
Yep.
So okay, so that was for one for the ICs. So okay, we will go ahead with Ravi only. So now for doc managers who are managing the doc team, in like we see that documentation teams overall now it's growing much more. Lot of scope for doc teams to do, and even value wise also it's growing. So any one specific trend you want them to follow in 24?
Managers, they should try to build skills within their team that will help them to move to the next level. Like I said, content designing and all that. Give them opportunities where, as a manager, it will be difficult to delegate some tasks that you will be doing, but how will you help them to grow to your level? So you will have to keep those kind of tasks, make them grow, learn new things,
Yes, empower them. Yeah,
empower them.
great. Mridula?
It is
Mute.
very important to have very strategic onboarding plans, because now, especially there is at least now the churn is less, but there was a time where there was a lot of, churn happening with the old writers going out, new writers coming in. So proper strategic onboarding plan is very important. We cannot rush through it. At the same time, it should not take too much of time. And once the person is onboarded, it is the doc manager's responsibility to ensure that person can contribute independently. So yes, initial phase, you know how when we learn cycling, the balance wheels are required, but then they have to come off so that the person knows to balance. So proper onboarding plan.
Hire people who can walk. Don't hire people who can only talk. Yeah, Shrutika.
I want all doc managers to, current and future, to remember progress over perfection. Um, so spend time in learning the ropes of being a manager, being a leader, shadow leaders in your organization and outside too, not just in your organization. Um, doc managers should also, or not should, must also learn managerial skills and methodologies. You may not get to implement them at your current workplace, but it is a must, in my opinion, to learn those things.
Great. So thanks so much for all the input and all the insights. So of course there is a lot to talk, but there is time constant and I am already 1 minute ahead of the time. So sorry audience for that, but still we can take probably 3 minutes if we have questions. Questions from the audience, if you have any. Ravi and Preeti, was there anything in the chat? Or else you can just, people can just ask questions.
No.
I can hear somebody unmuting.
Actually, this question is already answered in the chat, but
Okay.
I'm just repeating again. 835 for, I mean, this one from Amol, 35 or 40 plus year old writer finds a new set of learning, more of external force rather than inner motivation. Your tips to such age group writers to gear up.
So I am about to be 50. I don't remember a single day when I don't try to learn something new, every day. Of late, it is not related to tech writing, but the enthusiasm to learn, I'm saying. My daughter was finding very difficult to retain information. So I just learned about child psychology and some pedagogy principles and strategize the entire learning process. And then I thought, okay, I can use exactly same process when I'm teaching adults also. So I started using those principles in my training sessions, and I got wonderful results for it. So learning should be always an ongoing process so that it becomes an habit. Best solution for motivation.
Yeah, I think
Great.
one more thing is like for both managers and individual contributors, I think reading is one thing that we should all practice. Not just anything related to AI or tech writing that anyway we are forced to do it, but general reading, I think it really helps everybody. And as even Ravi was saying, empathy. How do you learn empathy? Like when you read a lot of books, when you read a lot of perspectives from what people have written, and I think that really helps create empathy, learn about customers, how people will understand some things we are writing. And since we are writers, when we see such excellent content that is already written, that itself is a motivation for us to better our skills and be good at what we are doing. I think reading is a must for all, probably for everybody, but especially for writers. I think the humanity part of reading, right? Like not just the technical parts. So I think that is a
Right.
compulsory thing that we should all follow for both writers and managers. I'm surprised a lot of people don't read even at the knowledge industry that we are in. But if you want to be relevant and you want to do well in your career, I think reading is a must. There are brilliant books you should read.
Yeah. And we have a bookworms group. It's a completely fun group. People who want to read, you can just join that group. There is no TWT ad there. It's TWT ad free also.
Yeah.
But you should be a reader, basically, to join that group. Okay. So you're
Thank you.
well said. And that also reminds me of one incident that I must have